Hello, so on this video we're going to be going through if a problem with health can be solved in one visit or with one chiropractic adjustment, and then what's a normal kind of pace we'd see for most of our patients. Something I do get asked on a fairly common basis by patients is if a problem can be solved with one single adjustment. So one way to think of this for some people when they're thinking about this is, say if you're going for having a tooth taken out or going in for some sort of surgery, there's usually one procedure, occasionally maybe a second follow-up, but usually one procedure which solves that problem. However, with these kind of procedures, these are much more invasive than something like, say, chiropractic or other alternative ways of coming at health, whether it's physiotherapy or osteopathy or massage as well. And especially with chiropractic, even though we are getting some real physical movement of the bones, it's something where on occasion there may be some big changes after just a single adjustment, even especially just at the top part of the neck. However, usually it will require some level of repetition, and it's all dependent on the patient, their lifestyle, and also how long the problem has been there. As an example, if you think about somebody who has, say, just rolled their ankle, say, yesterday, for them, for their rehab afterwards, it may take a few weeks for them to get back to a normal pace. However, if you have somebody who had rolled their ankle 20 years ago, over time, of course, they may start to build up these biomechanical differences in the body. They may start to have some damage going on around the bones, around the ligaments, the joints, the muscles themselves, and they may even start to have these different patterns that they developed as well. So for them, of course, because the problem has built up over a longer time, there may be more scar tissue, it will take a longer time to heal. It's the same problem when we have chiropractic as well. If there's been a problem, whether it's in the lower part of the spine or up in the top of the neck, as we specialize in here at Vitality Chiropractic, then there may be something where it needs more more visits to make sure there is adequate amount of progress. Because the longer a problem has been left to set in, the longer it usually will take logically for it to be healed. One of the great examples of this is when we see children. For myself, I generally will see ages of about 5 and up. However, some of my colleagues will be seeing babies as young as only a couple of days old. And for these babies and these children, they will react and they will have to have less adjustments or care than your average adult will, especially if the adult has had the problem been present for a very long time. As an example, I used to see, again, babies when I used to work in a different way, in a different practice, and for those babies we would see them maybe 3 or 4 times in the beginning, and then we'd have checkups once every 3 months or sometimes even 6 months, depending on what's happening with them, if there's any health issues, or if it's just for a general checkup to make sure they're growing and thriving the way they should be. However, if someone has had problems where it has been building up over time, and especially over years or even decades, logically it's going to take more time in the beginning, more frequently to see them, to make sure we're changing some of those habits in the body, helping the body go into a better position and a better direction. And then also it's going to take more of a long plan to make sure we are getting that kind of result. Another great example I would use for this is one, say, of somebody who's been exercising. If you have somebody who, say, was quite athletic when they were younger, maybe there was someone who did a lot of sports, maybe they ate pretty healthy and they get out of shape for a bit of time, maybe for 6 months. For them to get back into shape is going to be much easier than it would be for some other people. Then we have another person. This person has been having a career where they haven't had much time to exercise. They haven't been eating very well, not drinking much water, not getting much sleep, and their body has started to deteriorate more over time. And for them, they never had this background of being an athlete in the beginning. So for them, of course, for them to make that bigger change similar to the other person, the first example, it's going to take a lot more time, it's going to take more effort, and it's going to also take more visits, whether it's to their dietitian, the gym, or anywhere else. So for our patients, typically we're going to be seeing someone between 2 and 6 months of care, depending of course on how long the problem's been there and how that has then affected their body physically. And that's usually something which we would then set out a plan to make sure we know where we're going based on the current research. If anyone has any questions, you can always leave them in the comments, or you can give us a call at 8438-9550 or email help@vitalitychiropracticcentres.com, and we're happy to explain more or get back to you about any issues or concerns that you may have.